How we doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. So I just got off the practice.
When you guys got back to practice this week, what was the first thing you focused on based on the results on Sunday?
Well, the way the week goes is like you come back in Monday, you review the game, the guys kind of work off, not with football, and then I would say the thing is like you can't do too much to try and win a game. You know, I thought the guys played their heart out. I thought they pushed the limits of the way they played. Didn't start the way we wanted to start, but I think in those terms, you just got to keep pushing to do the ordinary things extraordinary. And that's what we talked about. Like, that's when the plays that, in those games, they made more plays on the ball than we did. And that's the game. And in those situations, you just have to keep coming back. And then yesterday we came back, and it's about hitting it and going to get it and having elite communication, elite execution, and keep pushing through the week for the next game.
What do you think improved or changed about your run defense after those first couple of times?
Really and truthfully, it's just one of them was just a fit that you just have to fix, you know, like it's coming off, get a sideline adjustment, and that's really it, to be honest with you. Like, just those couple of bits. One of them was a situational run on short yardage, and you clean those things up, you play with fundamentals. Against a team like that, they're a very good running team that have a patient back that can find the crease, and you don't play fit ball. You don't say you've got to be there, because then you won't make any plays, but you have to play with extension. You have to be able to separate from blocks.
That Williams 34-yard run, you're talking about the short yardage, is that simply fitting the gap, you in this gap, you in this gap, you in this gap?
It just got on the edge. I think it's more of like us making sure we put the players in the right position. I wouldn't say it's anyone's exact fault. They done a good job. We didn't do a good enough job.
Mike singled out the play Nick Emmanwori made down by the goal line. So for him to show you that, like, I know that there was an issue in the game before that Mike mentioned that play he could have made. For him to bounce back and make that effort play, what does that tell you about that?
Yeah, I think with Nick, he has obviously all these really good, I would say, elite physical talents. I think one thing you sometimes miss is he has a great ability to just like go to the next thing, take on the information, go to the next thing. And I think in his growth, you have to be able to do that when you're put in multiple spots, because you will make some mistakes. You know, there's a lot of ask for him in a early part of his career, and he can just go to the next one and does a good job of that.
And you said, some sacks aren't everything, at times.
Yeah.
That was a game that had 0 sacks, but it sure felt like there was still pressure for both teams in that one. Kind of, how do you kind of look at that game for your guys?
Yeah, it was. They done a good job of getting the ball out fast. I think Matt Stafford operates at a very high level. I would say, there was probably maybe one or two maybe opportunities for them to actually sack the quarterback. And in games like that, it's just like I just started it's like you have to do those ordinary rushes extraordinary, because there is an opportunity to sack them, and you've got to get there. But they did. They applied pressure. They rushed as one. They done a good job.
The rotation of cornerbacks, 3 starters in 2 spots. What's the challenge for you guys, coaching-wise, coaching-wise?
I think the challenge is honesty. Like, I think that's it. Like, you have people, and I said it a couple of weeks to you guys, I don't see it no different as the guys that play on the front. Like, it's competition, and I thought Reek has put games together. He deserves to be on the field, and you have to find, when players are pushing you to put them on the field, I think it puts me and Mike in a great spot to say, okay, and the coaches to say, okay, how do they get on the field, and find ways.
Do you spell out the rotation before the games to them?
Yes.
So they know they're well aware of.
Yeah, you have to, like I said, it's honesty. You have to, I think, clarity in the way that Mike conveys information to us and we will convey it to our players is one of the most important things of having like the successful culture he does.
The Devontae Adams touchdown, is there any way to defend that better? Or is that
Yeah.
tip your cap to them?
It's hard, like the leverage he had, could have done a better job. Like, yeah, it is a hard. It was a good play.
You've got a few games now with Coby. Will give something up early. I'm thinking maybe like the Arizona game down there last year, and he's come back, made a play, fumbled Sunday, picked off Kyler last year. Why does he respond well to these things?
Because I think it's just NFL football. Like, you have to limit errors and keep pushing. But I think Kobe's a savage competitor. He wants to he wants to make every play, and sometimes you do, and in this league, and sometimes that guy does, and you have to reboot and go again. And I think he does a great job of that. Like that's just NFL football.
Drake was talking to us earlier today about how some teams told him he's too small to play backer, pretty much at every level. He said that. It's listed like 228. How is he playing linebacker? Fitting the run you guys do out of
Because we didn't tell him that. That's simple.
How's he doing that at 228? What are you doing there?
I think there's quite a few linebackers that play at like 228 in this league. I think he does a great job. Like we could say, like yes, is he smaller than maybe some of the linebackers? Byron's smaller than some of the D tackles. I think like good players understand their deficiencies, they understand their superpowers, and they use them, and he is doing that. His ability to process information, his ability to execute information, and to hit the ball. He gets around the football.
Byron Murphy ran down a couple dudes from behind again in LA. Is he faster than you thought he was when you got him?
He ran 4.8 coming out. He's pretty fast. He's a pretty fast player. And I think.
Is that a big attraction to you?
You know what I think it is right now with those plays where he's making them, like we're talking about outside the number plays and pushing downfield, is the plays like Leo's stop on that 4th and 15 against Washington. When you have players making plays like that, the younger players look at him and they understand what it takes to like finish drives and win in those moments, you know, and they've done a great job of kind of like leading the younger guys and showing them those things.
In game planning, how does crossover tape go into what you guys do?
A lot. Like, when you mean crossover tape, you mean teams that, what do you mean by that question?
How would you explain it if I say crossover tape?
I would say just looking at teams that kind of play like us and how teams play against them and things like that.
How do you like who plays like you guys? Who plays your system?
I would say like teams that have come from the Baltimore system.
How is that helpful for what you guys do? Is it similar? Like if a team attacks Baltimore, the Titans like you, does it show up again when they play you? Are they changing stuff?
Sometimes not. Like I think systems, it's just like you play the 49ers, their system, their offensive system is like our offensive system. Clint does it a different way. I think like sometimes you just pick and choose, you look at it and you kind of look and that's the art of coaching, that's the art of game planning.
How much stock do you guys put into like a defensive tackle's 40 time? I mean, it seems like there's not many times in a game where they're at a full sprint, except for those times where Byron's chasing something.
I think like you look at their 10 time, you look at their 40 time, guys. It's hard for a big man to run that fast and not respect the fact that they're running that fast, you know, because they have got to create elite explosion to move down that, you know. So like I think you do have to take in account. I look at the shorter times a lot more. I'll be honest with you, but when someone's running that type of speed, when they're running like when they're over 300 pounds and they're running sub like 4.9, you've got to pay attention to that.
Anything else?
Guys, have a great weekend.